Put a microphone on this amp and record. Today I'm going to do an unboxing and product demo for the Radial JCR Studio Reamper. And we'll be reamping guitar using our pedal board, and we'll do it through the amp. So we're going to do both. Basically what this thing does is, say that you wanted to take a drum track that you recorded, a keyboard track you recorded on your DAW on your computer. Say you didn't want to do digital effects with that inside your computer. Say you wanted to use some guitar effects because you have some nice guitar effects around. Say I wanted to run, maybe we'll do that. Say you wanted to run your drums through the Memory Man, or you wanted to run your vocals through a blues driver. You can't exactly just plug in. You can't exactly plug your computer into that. You can, but you're going to get a ton of distortion, okay? And it's going to be a bad signal. So what this does is it lets you take a, it lets you match the impedance, which I'm not going to get technical right now with you guys, but if you don't know what that is, look it up. But basically it lets you take something like a line level that you would get off of a mixer and turn it into an instrument level, which is what this pedal board will accept, or what an amplifier will accept. The main application for this is when guitar players in the studio want to have the choice of using a different amp after, say that they recorded through, I don't know, a Fender amp, and say that they wanted the choice, they weren't really sure if maybe they wanted a Marshall amp on that, you know. Well, if you record a direct inputted signal, which I'll show you how to do that, at the same time you record the amp signal, you'll have the option, if you use one of these, to then later send that direct inputted signal through to the Marshall amp that wasn't used. So you could actually, using this, change the settings on the amp as the guitar track is playing. And this works for anything, though. They sell this as a guitar reamper, you know, for reamping guitar. But as I'm going to show you, you can use it for pedals. You can send your drums through there. You can, you know, reamping guitar is the main application. So anyways, here's the reamper. The input is going to be, well, you can do either XLR or TRS. I think it's TRS. Let me make sure. Anyways, I'll make sure. And then it has a mute button, which is convenient. You can filter your reamp. So you have, this is the bottom is here is a flat. You can do you can roll off some low end there, and then here you can roll off the high end. We're going to keep that flat. This is a nice level adjustment. So I think it goes up to 20 dB. I'm not sure. I know the input on this is basically mixer level. So I'm going to try to plug a mic into it. I think I'm going to have to use a preamp, and it has some phase stuff and ground lift, and we don't need to worry about that right now. So let's plug this thing in, and we'll show you how this all works. So what we're going to do, I've plugged my guitar directly into my preamp. So the signal chain is that goes guitar, preamplifier, and digital converter directly into the computer. So I wouldn't normally recommend doing this. I'm showing you, if you were in the studio, say you would be getting a signal like this. It sounds terrible. It's a DI. So you'd be getting a DI, plus you'd be getting an amplifier signal. But I'm just for speed and sake of convenience, I'm going to show you. Let's just record the part. We've got that in Pro Tools, and what we're going to do is we're going to send that out of Pro Tools, and we're going to send it into the pedal board, into the amplifier, and then we're going to get experimental with it. Reamping guitar, baby. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this instrument track, and I'm going to send it to the out of one. Whatever DAW you're using, this might be a little different. So now this is going to be sending only to my channel 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is the output. This wire here is the output of my system. Particularly, it'll be different for your system, but I'm going to take that and plug it into this input. If you had a 1/4 inch as an output, you could use this as the input, but I'm going to use the XLR here. and plug that baby in. The other step, the output of this pedal, Pro Tools is outputting to the Reamp. And now the output of the Reamp is going to go into here, which is where you'd normally plug your guitar in for your, this is the beginning of my pedalboard chain. And then my pedalboard feeds back out into channel 4. So I'm coming out of channel 1 and recording into channel 4. It can get confusing with some of this wiring, but anyways, we're going to take what's normally our guitar input and plug it in here to the output of the Reamper. So there's the output on the, and now let's create a new track in Pro Tools, and you see we've got the output of 1 is the Reamp, and now the input, let's make that 4. Let's arm that, and now we should be reamping through the pedalboard. As you can see, we have a signal. So this is the original. Sounds terrible, right? Now let's hear the Reamp. Let's look at the pedalboard here. You can come over and experiment with your pedals. Right? You hear the difference. Okay. Reverb. Tremolo. Now these aren't sounds that I would normally use. I'm just showing you real quick a demo of that it works and how it works and how you wire it up. You want to spend some more time actually tweaking your sounds and getting them sounding good. This doesn't apply to only guitar. This is how you'd reamp a guitar. So say you were in the studio and you recorded your guitar into the amp for the session, but you also took the DI. This would be the DI, and then later, if you wanted some extra juice on it, this is how you'd get that through a pedalboard. You know, reamping guitar through your pedalboard, that's how you do it. Now let's show you how to do this with, maybe we'll send some drums through the pedalboard. We'll send, I don't know, some bass, it doesn't matter. I'll open up a track and we'll do that. So here's the original bass. I just pulled a track I'm working on. Let's put some reverb. Add an amp to it maybe. Maybe if you were doing a heavier song, that's too much. That effect track is recorded alongside our original track. So here's the original track. And here's the effect we just recorded. We can blend it. Maybe we reamp acoustic guitar. I don't know. Why would you? Why not? So I'm just gonna, now we'll run that through. Now we'll use this. It's pretty goofy. I mean, this is good for experimenting with different sounds. As promised, we'll put some drums through it. Let's put some phaser on it. You know, you can get really goofy. Trashy sounding. Let's see, maybe reverb. Less is more with this. I actually like that phaser on it. A little bit of phasing on the drums, a little analog phasing. was reamping drums. Normally you're reamping guitar, but reamping drums, reamping bass. Just wanted to show you that you can do reamping through a guitar pedal board. So next we'll do the amp. We'll just run it through the amp just to prove to you how to do it. Now we're going to do it through the amp. What we're going to do is this output that was running into the pedal board and then back into the recording. What we're going to do, make sure the speakers are down when you do this. Be careful of pops and clicks. We're going to take that out of the pedal board, and all we're going to do, this is how reamping normally works. Reamping guitar like this. And we're going to run that into the input of our amplifier, and we'll switch on our amplifier. Now we hear the drums out of there. So, wow. Okay, so we got this in here. Now say we wanted to put some reverb from the amp on. Okay, or this particular amp has chorus. Now we got chorus on there. And to reamp these drums, all we would do is record the sound of the mic in the room. That's the way you can do reamping. You can do it the first way, direct in through a pedal board with an amp simulator. I have these Sans amp GT2s. Or you could do like, you know, it's not just drums. You could do anything like that. Maybe you wanted to reamp piano and you wanted to put some guitar amp sounds on the piano. So now we're reamping piano, and all we would do is put a microphone on this amp and record it like a guitar amp. What you'll find if you try to do this without a reamp box is you'll get a lot of hiss and a lot of distortion in the amp signal, because pianos weren't meant to go through guitar amps. Guitars were. As you can see, that's a really clear signal out of the amplifier, and I'm controlling it with the amp controls. We had a DI track we recorded at the very beginning. Let's bring it back now. So there's the signal we recorded. Now it's through a DI. It's as if I was standing here in the room playing it, huh? And that's the main application of this. For people who have a studio where they want to have a lot of different amp options to do later in post-production, and they have the guitar only for a short amount of time in the studio. So they just plug him in on whatever amp, make sure you catch the DI, and then later on go and tweak the amp settings. A lot of people say that way the player doesn't get to use the nuances of the amp to aid in their performance. Well, it's true. It's a trade-off, versatility versus you know, technical performance ability. You know, it's another tool, and I think every studio ought to have one of these for those kind of scenarios where you need to capture a performance really quickly and you don't have time to get your amp settings right, and you just want to do it later. Or maybe you got it right, you know, you thought you got it right the first time, and you realize when you hear it back that your amp tone sucks and you're stuck with it. Well, now you're not stuck with it. You use that Radial Engineering JCR pedal and put it in another amp like this, and you're good to go. This is an acoustic amp, by the way, so I wouldn't recommend doing that for a telly, but that's what I have on hand. One thing that I wanted to mention to you guys, I noticed some delay when I was recording earlier. So if you're having that issue, one option is just to slide it around to match it. Okay, if the track you record, the effect track, is a little bit out of sync with the original track, what you can do is you can, this is Pro Tools, other people, other DAWs might have a different way of doing this, but basically you just lower the sample rate. Mine was set to 1,000 samples. I just set it down to 64 samples, and then the delay went away. If you want to leave it, I did notice some glitches when that happens, so you could leave it at the higher hardware buffer size, at the 1,000 or the 500 or whatever, and you'd have no glitches, but then it'll be a little out of sync. Honestly, it took half a second to just realign. It was really easy. The whole thing just realigned. So it's up to you how you want to do it. I think if I was to really do this for work that I was actually going to use it in, I would use the higher hardware buffer size, and then I'd manually slide it until I liked where it sat. It's up to you, but that's just a quick tip. Well, we'll do another song for you coming up soon, and make sure you subscribe down below. If you thought this video was helpful and you enjoyed it, please smash the like button, subscribe. I really appreciate your support. And now my wife has to go feed our son and stop filming me.